Our shows are usually just chaos, but like somewhat controlled. It's a thing where I don't really think we plan much out, and I mean there is a light plan. I mean there's a set list and there's whatever, but there's a stage and you got to stand.
It's pretty much
I got to stand in front of a microphone, but in general we're kind of like pretty unhinged.
pretty much two anchors right here and two fucking roundabouts right here. But he's got a broken dude.
Anchor now.
Yeah, he's a little bit more anchored now.
Now he's an anchor man.
I think venues are all every city, every venue, every stage, everywhere in the world has its own personality, and it's one of those things where a good show really depends on whether or not everyone wants to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like if the crowd wants to see the show and the band wants to play it, then it's a good show.
Totally. It's
like
all about
it
feeling.
doesn't really matter if there's 10 people or 10,000. And I've played some and there's always you always hear this kind of preference for smaller shows. I disagree. I think I've played plenty of 10,000 seaters that were better than that one time we played this cowboy bar and no one really liked us, right? But nonetheless, and that was a small show, right? But nonetheless, we played equally as many, awesome shows to like
With
4
10,000 people, you really need the big thing of Purell. You can't have the little. The little one just won't do that.
I mean, there is
The holster one is not good for 10,000 people.
Industrial
yeah, you
Walmart
need.
size
Yeah.
Costco.
I mean,
tub.
You
there
need
is
to
an
be able to
as-
get your head underneath that thing.
I mean, there's like an aspect about like the smaller shows when they're fully packed and everyone's just like real sweaty and there's so much like energy going on that like, and that's what she said. I'm sure will come up in like a minute, but nonetheless, I mean, like there's definitely like a different feeling there, because you're
That's
just
what she said.
all right, because there's so much, you're so close to people. There's really no like separation, and I think it's definitely slightly different in a bigger venue. But like Patrick was saying, it's all about like if the crowd's feeling it and you're feeling it, you can throw it back and forth, sort of. I think that like definitely makes a really good show.
Bono's big venues.
What's that?
No, sorry.
Bonos.
Right.
Bonos.
Everywhere it has a surprising amount of similarities, but some things that are just totally different. Like Japan, what's the thing that they do where it's like a chant, like there's a
Hey.
yeah on beats 2 and 4, and just impromptu everyone will do it in unison, like out of nowhere, and like you don't instruct them to do it, it just happens. Like there's in Australia there's the Aussie Aussie Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely cultural things that are totally different they're new and exciting to us because we're not used to them.
I think this record, I think Infinity on High, more than any other record we've done, I think we were really just we just did it. I think we were just excited to do it, and I don't think we really worried about what the outcome would be. Because I think at this point in your career, you know what I mean, like everyone's worried about the make or break times, how like this is going to determine the rest of your career. It's kind of the same stuff you're being told in high school, or whatever, and it's like just do something, just be happy with what you do, because as long as you don't make yourself look stupid, you know what I mean, as long as you believe in the music, and you're writing it for the same reasons that you ever did, so that's kind of one of the things about this album is oddly enough I think it was the least pressure record. I mean, I think a big thing that defines this record is like there's a couple songs on there. I think Thanks for the Memories. I think You're Crashing But You're No Wave. I think Afterlife of the Party. These are all songs that we couldn't thematically have done on our last records. You know what I mean? Again, that are you taking yourself too seriously, or are you taking yourself not seriously enough? Kind of problem. I think now, again, and that thing I was talking about where we just didn't really worry what anyone said. We kind of just went for it, and stylistically, I think it kind of jumps at a bunch of different things. I think it opens us up too, because I kind of felt like at this point in a career, you know what I mean, you decide whether or not you're going to sound exactly the same until until the day you die, or if you're willing to like make some changes here and there. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things about our band is that we were never really the most outgoing dudes in the first place. we were never really the because it's one of those things where there's, you know, you as a musician, as an entertainer, you know, falling under that or whatever, but then there's this idea that everyone has to be entertaining, you know, at all times, right? And that was never really us. We were never, I don't really fancy myself to be that interesting, right? And I think that's one of the things is that, I mean, you kind of juggle between, you know, trying not to be rude to people and, you know, making sure that everyone knows that, you know, no, it's totally cool. I'll, you know, whatever it is, you know, whatever someone's expectation is. But at the same time, maintaining like, but I am kind of this boring schlub, you know, you know, hi, you know, and so I think it's kind of just that dichotomy or whatever. I think it's weird because when we started, Pete was probably much more outgoing than he is now, and I was probably much less. And I think it's just one of those things where like it levels you out. You know,
people
what I mean?
are so fascinated with change and the idea of other people's change. It's like, how do you not change in 4 years? And it would be kind of embarrassing as a human being to have no change and be the same person you were like 4 years ago. And it would be unauthentic, you know? And I think that that's one of the things that bothers me is that I expect that our fans will change too. And, you know, some will change with you and some will change and take a totally different path, you know, or whatever. But it's like, it's always the, hey, how come you guys changed? You guys suck now, be how you were, versus the, man, these dudes make no progression at all. It's just kind of like a no-win situation. You know?
You can't please can't please anybody all the time. But I mean,
Me and Patrick were talking about it. You can't make everybody unhappy all the time.
we've had some moderate success, and I think that opens up, you know, the opportunities to be able to do other things and pursue other things that you love doing. And I think I don't know, like you already got to like work on your pet project, the thing that makes you most happy, and the thing that you want to put 100% into, and then you know, you can kind of like work on these other things without like necessarily like worrying about how well it's going to do, just worrying about like, you know, how good it's going to be for yourself, and as long as like you're doing it up to your own standards. And I think like, I don't know.
I think a lot of it happened accidentally. It's just stuff we're into, like the drum company. It's just, you know, I'm endorsed by CNC, and the opportunity kind of arose. They needed to expand, and, you know, they sold some of the company, you know, to anyone who was willing. And I don't care financially how it does. It's just a company I believe in, and like, you know, a small local hometown company, and I really wanted to support that. And I think this, you know, it's similar for everyone.
I think, yeah.
Things
I mean, you just have to be 100% behind it. You can't like back a product or something like that and like just put it in half-ass.
Yeah, that anytime anybody brings up this question to us, it's always articulated in like a Forbes 500 kind of way, rather than a kind of like Warholian kind of aspect, where it's like you just want to make an impact on pop culture, and I feel like in a place where we're able to do that legitimately, and so you can make an impact in other areas and make them cohesive and all fit together. And it doesn't really like, if people ever knew what our money situation was like, it's like, I have a lot more money than I ever thought I would, but I probably have a lot less than anyone thinks I really do. You know, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's, I mean, I think Dylan said it, and a lot of people have said it, but it's,
you know, it's like you've got to have a hobby, and, you know, our hobby got too big, you know, so now you need a hobby from the hobby. And one of the things too is I think
hobby.
Sometimes you see things that you want to exist that don't exist, right? There are records that I want to hear that haven't been recorded yet, so I try to make them. It's one of those things where simply there was clothing that he wanted to see that didn't exist. There are drums that you wanted to play that didn't exist, guitars, etc. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's why you do it, you know.